Well, it is 3 years to the day since Vladimir Putin shocked the world and ordered a full-scale invasion of Ukraine. Refugees to the UK marked this anniversary with a church service in Westminster this morning. They gathered at the Ukrainian Catholic Cathedral to remember those who have lost their lives in this war and to thank the British people for opening their homes to around 250,000 Ukrainian refugees, many of whom remain in the UK. Sky's Molly Malone was there.
At this service, like many other events around the world today, there was a real show of support for Ukraine, the Ukrainian community here in the UK, gathering to mark what has now been 3 years of war. We saw Christian leaders, Jewish leaders, politicians and the ambassador too, all with messages really of unity and of defiance as well. Bishop Kenneth Nowakowski opening the service, saying he feels the same today as he did 3 years ago, in shock, he said, in disbelief, with a sense of great sadness. Also here, of course, the now large Ukrainian community here in the UK, some 200,000 people fleeing their country as that war broke out 3 years ago. We caught up with some of them as they left the service today, all with their own individual stories of this war.
I came to UK after 2 weeks of the war, but first of all I came to Sweden. I was there for 5 months and then I came here.
And what was it like leaving?
It was really hard because my father was still there, and just living in your country without knowing the language and trying to fit in even though you can't really understand anything. It was really hard.
And how are you feeling in the UK now, 3 years on?
I feel so much better. I have friends and my life is happier now.
I miss Ukraine so much, and it's quite... I don't know how to express my emotions now, but I think I'm home now because I'm here already for 3 years, and I've changed 5 or 6 time addresses. I've changed colleges, universities, and the only thing I miss is my parents.
Ukraine is bleeding every day. Ukrainians are in pain, and in a late event, we feel a little bit betrayed.
You feel betrayed?
Of course.
By who?
By the world, by world leaders.
So some now feeling settled, having now lived here for a number of years in the UK, they feel and they call this home, but still deeply troubling, deeply uncertain times, many of them with friends and families still out in Ukraine as this war continues to wage on.
Molly Malone reporting there from Westminster today. Well, hundreds of thousands of Ukrainians took refuge in the UK in the weeks that followed the Russian invasion back in 2022. Since then, there has been a steady stream of arrivals, not to take shelter, but to prepare themselves to join the fight. And so far, the British Army has trained more than 50,000 Ukrainian civilians as soldiers. Our correspondent, Ashna Huranag, met some of them today.
The armed forces of Ukraine have stood up to Putin's aggression for 3 years. Here's what goes into training the Ukrainian army here in Britain. This could be any town or village under attack. This is a residential street with houses, with bed frames and wardrobes. There's also a pub, a restaurant, a hotel, and even burnt-out vehicles. But this is actually an urban training facility built to recreate real-life scenarios. This is Operation Interflex, a training programme that takes ordinary civilians and turns them into soldiers in just 7 weeks. 51,000 Ukrainian soldiers have been through this programme.
While we're very aware of how much the situation is changing, both sides are innovating incredibly quickly, and the innovation loop is incredibly tight. But it is a very long battlefront, and so what we would call a TTP, tactics, techniques and procedures, that might be appropriate for one area of the battlefield, it could be completely different in a different part of the front. So we tend not to be immediately reactive. There's a balance to be struck between changing things as soon as the situation changes and actually waiting until we can see a pattern and then changing our training accordingly. But in terms of the mental preparation, all we can do is try to provide the most realistic possible training environment.
It's easy to forget that up until a few weeks ago, all of these people had civilian jobs, from marketing to finance to an IT technician. And Alex was one of them. In a few weeks' time, though, he will be on the front line.
It's like the life was separated in two parts, before the war and after the war. So now we're like gathering all our power, efforts, maybe to help our soldiers. I would never imagine myself here before the war. And now I'm here, and actually the trainings are pretty intense.
Well, they come from all sorts of backgrounds. We have teachers, taxi drivers, butchers and bakers. We have all sorts of people who come here, but they are, I guess, united by the desire to defend their country, to fight for their country. And so while they're entering at a low level of understanding, they're leaving with some really valuable experience, and they're very motivated to go back and fight.
We're joining me now in the studio. We'll be speaking to some Ukrainians who have settled here in the UK, but these are scenes live in Trafalgar Square tonight. Ukrainians gather there to mark this anniversary, 3 years since the start of war in their country, since that invasion by Russia. As you can see, turning out in huge numbers there to mark this. The war, of course, continuing in their home country, but these are scenes live in Trafalgar Square, central London tonight. In the studio, Tanya Neymanova, who moved to the UK just after the war started and is now the Ukraine team leader at refugee charity USP UK, and Anna Bozenko, who was also one of the 250,000 Ukrainians who fled here in the early months of this conflict. Ladies, thank you for coming in to the studio tonight. We were hearing from our reporter Molly Malone, who was with Ukrainians this morning at a cathedral today, talking to them about how they're feeling on this anniversary. And there was one young man, Andre, who said, you know, he's been away from home for 3 years now and he doesn't know really what emotions to express. And Tanya, I would imagine that is the case for both of you tonight, because 3 years on, there is still war in your country and you didn't expect it to be continuing.
Who would think that, who would have thought that this will be lasting for so long, and still 3 years on. We were supposed to maybe flee our home for a day or a week, and no one would realise that this would continue for 3 years on already. But we were grateful and really happy to come together with other Ukrainians today to mark this anniversary. And there's been many events going on in the UK to mark this, including Trafalgar Square concert. And actually today I was honoured to join other Ukrainians at the Prime Minister's reception down the street. That was really remarkable and really special moment for all of us.
What did he say to you? Because he's been speaking today saying that the UK stands with Ukraine. That hasn't changed from the moment this war started. What did he say to you today?
Yeah, it was great to hear, obviously, about all this, and very support that we are feeling. Actually, we do feel this, and obviously we were happy to hear that UK will be standing by our side for longer, for as long as it takes, and especially that this is our common issue, a European issue, rather than just Ukrainian problem. So we're not alone with all these, and it is a matter of European security, defence, and we shall all be together in this to stay against the evil.
Anna, how are you feeling today? Because it's a day of conflicting emotions. You're far away from your home country where war continues. You've had to make a new life here for yourself in the UK. How are you feeling today?
Well, it seems that the more time it takes, the harder to stay with this. And during these 3 years, it was the second time when I saw my parents. They visited us. They've been with us for 10 days, and today they left. So it's very hard.
This war has split families, and when we do speak to Ukrainians who have come here to the UK as part of the scheme, that has been one of the hardest things, being away from your country while this war continues. Anna, perhaps you can talk to us a little bit about how you came to the UK? Because you came here with your son, who's now 18, just turned 18.
Yeah, he's already 18. Anyway, we are very thankful to UK and the government that this country hosted us, to all the people we met here, for the support of all the Ukrainian people. So yeah, no matter how it's hard for us, anyway, we are very thankful.
Because you came here and you were placed with a family, but as many Ukrainians, you know, watching tonight will know, and those who have taken part in the scheme to house Ukrainian families here in the UK, that only lasted for 6 months. And then you faced a really tough time, didn't you, of course? Talk to me a little bit about that, because it's not been easy for you here building a new life unexpectedly.
Yeah, it's really hard, the procedure of renting a flat and the costs of living. Everything is, very difficult, so...
Because essentially you had 6 months to collect yourself, to find a job, to find somewhere to live for you and your son.
Yeah, at least I'm happy that I'm doing the same job I was doing back in Ukraine. And that gives me inspiration, because a lot of people who cannot, for example, doctors, they cannot be doctors here anymore. And I'm an artist, and I'm very thankful for that. And for every client who hired me. Yeah, I'm very thankful to everyone.
Tanya, talk to me about your story coming here to the UK, because you now work through your organisation, your charity, helping other Ukrainian families come to the UK, because the scheme is still open. The UK is still bringing Ukrainian families here to the UK.
That's really true, and we're really, as Anna said, thankful for this scheme, for this route to be open, so people can come and find their maybe temporary but still a home, because the scheme is called Home from Ukraine, it really felt like home here. And as just Anna said, I can really relate, because I had to lose my job, I quit my job. There wasn't really opportunity for me to work further in Ukraine, but I started volunteering in a refugee center in Warsaw, and that's how I met people from the charity I'm now working in with already for 3 years. I'm also grateful for their support, for keeping this pretty much ongoing, because we still do match Ukrainians with the sponsors, even though there's not too many left in the scheme. So just from here, wanted to shout out to anyone who would maybe willing to host Ukrainians, maybe try again, or have a positive experience of helping someone, of having a family, a refugee family in your home. But I think Ukrainians are so talented, so well equipped. They pick language quickly. They are already here, self-employed, working, and trying to just develop as much as possible. So I think it would be a great asset for a country. And obviously we do have some issues. People are not sure about their future, which is probably the most important problem. But I'm happy to be working with Ukrainians and for Ukrainians here in the UK.
Because there was that initial drive, wasn't there, for UK families to come forward, and the need for those families to still come forward to house Ukrainians who wish to leave Ukraine. You know, the demand is still there. We're talking after a press conference that happened between President Trump and Emmanuel Macron, and Emmanuel Macron talking positively, saying he feels that this is a turning point in the war in Ukraine. There is a lot of talk about peace now that Donald Trump is in power in the United States. And he said that by peace, he didn't mean the surrender of Ukraine. And it was felt that that was very important for him to say that in front of President Trump today. Just like to ask you both how hopeful you're feeling at this point on this 3rd anniversary with President Trump now in power in America as a key player. How hopeful are you feeling tonight? I'll come to you first, Anna.
Well, I think Trump's words are very unfair and devastating. Our people are being killed for 3 years and cities are destroying. and every day our cities have been bombing, every day since the first day of the war. And aggressor country gets just bank system sanctions. So yeah, this is very unfair, in my opinion. And Trump's words are also rather devastating, but yeah, I think anyway, this will only unite and gives power to Ukrainian people.
And Tanya, a final word from you about how positive you're feeling perhaps tonight, or are you feeling more uncertain given what Donald Trump has said?
Yeah, it's just this time of the year. Every 21st of February, we get back to all these memories and keep thinking how it all started. So with all the talks about peace deals, but still seeing our cities being bombed and shelled, we do have some frustration, and we feel not secure about what's just happening next. And we just know that we want to be the part of, as a nation, as a country, we want to be part of negotiations. We want a
seat at the table for any kind of agreement.
Because it just matters directly to us, and we want to have a peace, but we already paid really high price by losing some of the best ones and losing territories, losing people, most importantly. So we want a peace, but a long-lasting, guaranteed, and security for Ukraine.
Well, Tanya and Anna, thank you so much for coming in and sharing your stories and your thoughts on what's happening on this third anniversary of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. We wish you well. Thank you for coming in to see us.
Thanks for having us
On Sky News. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, a 19-year-old man who pleaded guilty to killing his mum and two of his siblings at their home in Luton last September was also plotting a mass shooting at a local primary school. Nicholas Prosper admitted 3 counts of murder, as well as a number of other offences that included the purchase and possession of a shotgun with intent to endanger life. Let's bring in Sky's Shimon Freeman-Powell, who is live for us in Luton tonight with more details. Shimon, what do we know so far?
Well, we already knew, didn't we, of the gruesome attack that Nicholas Prosper carried out against his own family, killing his mother, Juliana, his younger brother, Kyle, who was just 16 years old, and his little sister, Giselle, in that attack, where all 3 of them sustained gunshot wounds to their heads. However, today we also discovered that Nicholas Prosper had more plans, even deadlier plans, to carry out a mass shooting here at the St. Joseph's Catholic primary school, the very same primary school that he and his siblings attended when they were all young children. However, we heard today from Bedford Police that they were able to prevent this attack because they apprehended Nicholas Prosper close to his home, where they also found a loaded shotgun stuffed in bushes, along with around 30 bullets. Now, Sky News spoke to the Assistant Chief Constable John Murphy earlier today, where he gave us more details into how they were able to apprehend Nicholas Prosper.
During the course of our inquiries, investigators discovered an intention by the perpetrator to target a specific primary school in Luton. I understand the shock and horror that this news brings to parents, carers, school staff and the wider public, and I offer reassurance that our comprehensive inquiries demonstrate that this was a single perpetrator acting in isolation and who now faces a significant term of imprisonment.
Well, Shimon, a devastating discovery by police, the intentions to target a local primary school. What has been the reaction in the local community there?
Well, you can imagine, SJ, parents who send their children to this primary school have been shocked by this discovery. We have had a statement from the school trying to quell some of these concerns, which I can share with you now. The statement from St. Joseph's School says that we were very shocked to learn that St. Joseph was an intended target in this incident. However, we would like to reassure our parents and carers that there is no threat to the school. We have robust systems in place to keep children safe at school at all times. times. This includes having clear procedures in place, such as lockdown and safety processes, which are regularly practiced at the school. However, SJ, earlier I went to Lee Bank, the block of flats that these murders took place in, and spoke to some parents, some of whom knew some of the victims and others who did send their children to this primary school. One mother told me that she was sickened to learn of this planned attack, and she was extremely shocked considering that her own child goes to this school, not wanting to even think about what could have happened had this plan gone ahead.
Kishaman there in Luton for us this evening. That's all from us tonight. The World is up next with the Elder. Stay tuned.